Welcome in to the Goose and the Griz podcast, week 14, end of regular season edition. I am your host. Well, I'm the Griz. He's the Goose, but we also got a Uncle Unicorn situation going on here, and
Oh yeah.
I ditched the jersey here because it's all business now. It's playoff time, baby. So had to come with the shirt and the tie with my Buccaneers, polo with a tie. We got to go trailer park around these parts, but how you doing over there, Goose?
Good man. You look good. You look good. Looks like you're doing this shit from the press box. I'm doing it from the pirate shit. Overall, we're both in Raymond James today. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I gotta come corporate with it, and you're coming drunk sailor, which is great.
Yeah. Ah!
There we go. Hell yeah. Nothing like putting some food in your mouth on a podcast. That's awesome, bro. Great call. Let's make them vomit, folks. But let's get into a little bit of a recap and get on with what's going on in the league. But before we do, we had a couple of games we were watching last week, and I want to get your thoughts on them. Cowboys and Eagles. This was not exactly what we would call a game of the week. Still had big implications here, but the Eagles split it with Dallas. They still control the one seed, but is there trouble brewing in Philly?
I don't know, man. So these games, they come in waves. And we called it. You said they were gonna split the series. We just, well, I mean, I got the locations incorrect. But it's usually how it goes, right? Usually the home team they have the advantage. They have the home field. They got the crowd
It
pumping.
matters with those two teams.
Mhm. So they each won the games that they were supposed to win. So Dallas won theirs at their home, and Philly won theirs at their home. The funny part is that we're later into the season when the Dallas is playing at their game at home. So
Mhm.
it matters because Philly is has been playing very poorly lately. Obviously, they can change things around. They're still a Super Bowl contending team. Nothing changes there. But
Right.
this was a freaking waxing, man. They had them up, what, 24-6 by halftime. They could have called
Mhm.
the game. It reminds you kind of what Philly was doing to teams last year. They were just whooping them by halftime. And in the fourth quarter, they were pulling the starters. So this one ended up being 33-13. Philly looked like they just didn't want to keep the ball. They had, what was it, three fumbles between Hurts, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. Do you get to see any of this?
Mhm. Yeah, man, it was weird because it was like it's not like you looked at it and was like, "Oh, Dallas is just waxing them," even though
Mhm.
they were. It was like they're moving the ball, but they're not finishing, and it's like, those things matter in January and especially February if you get that far. And to me, what kind of what kind of sang out to me because if you would have asked me what I think is going to happen in this game, I thought that they were going to split before, but I actually was surprised by this. I thought after getting shellacked the week before by San Fran 42-19, they were going to come out with some fire because I said it in the last podcast. What is the best way to quell the anger of getting blown out on your home turf? Blowing out another a division opponent on their turf, and they just didn't bring it at all. I mean, a 20-point game. Um, that's just my takeaway. One time can be an aberration. Two times in a row, starts to look like a pattern. They need to come correct this week.
Yeah, I agree. Cowboys got the Bills coming up next, I believe. So that's gonna be fun to
Hmm.
watch. See if Dallas just continues this super hot streak. Again, do these games matter a little bit? When do they matter more? In the playoffs. But right now, Dallas answered the bell. Right? Can they play with the big boys? And so far, these past couple weeks, they have.
Yeah, yeah, and you are what you put on the field, right? You're what you put on tape. So Cowboys get the win, and they win convincingly. One that was a little closer, the Bills and the Chiefs. Now, let's just get right to it. The
Yeah.
last play, or the one of the last plays of the game,
Fast
I
forward to
call
it.
this the Tony, the Kadarius toe, because he was a toe over the line. This is, of course, the most replayed play of the entire past week. Mahomes and Reed went off, all that. Um, what is it that you think when you look at
It was
this?
funny. It was a
Was it the
lot of
right call?
Yeah, it was a lot of. There it is. There's the foot. So
Yep.
there's your big bird feet. And there was, fans, KC fans, they were watching that Miami game. They're like, "Oh, look, what is it? Waddle's offsides or Tyreek's offsides." So they were like more keen to these things in that game. You know
Mhm.
what? I don't care. This is the fourth quarter of a I don't want to say must-win game, but it's a playoff environment like game in Kansas City. In Kansas City. So way to make yourself look really bad in front of the home crowd. There's Tony's big ass foot over that line. I mean, there's no question about it. And then this is probably I was watching my father-in-law, one of the greatest football plays I've ever seen. I mean, Kelsey's going, run, catches the ball, throws it back to Tony,
Throws a dart.
touchdown. The game is over.
It should have been. It should have been. I mean, now see, this is where, I don't like to get into absolutes. More than one thing can be 100% true. You know what I mean? And was he offsides here? Is it a flag? Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Was the flag thrown right when it was snapped before it was known this was going to be a game changing play potentially? Yes, it was. It was the correct call of that. Does it suck that, again, though, we have a huge play taken away because of something that is inconsequential? Yeah, absolutely, and especially, like, for example, the Super Bowl. The Chiefs benefited from this right at the end when they got to run down the clock and kick the field goal when it was 3rd down and they got that defensive, holding call.
Right.
So, they've been on both sides of it. I think they were bitching a little bit much on this one, but it was the right call. They threw it at the right time, but you just hate to see it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. This could have been an amazing ending. You would have seen this play on Sports Center replayed like 50,000 times. But and it definitely would have helped Kyle in his matchup. We talked about it. He needed Patrick Mahomes to step up, but unfortunately, his playmakers cannot get it done.
Well, that's the thing that I would say that it begs more of a conversation about right now is the Chiefs, if they would have gotten that play, it really would have masked how they have not been playing their typical self. And, 17 points against the Bills, I get it's going to be close, but you were relying, I mean, the Bills, what they've been putting on the field lately, the Chiefs should have been able to win this game and they didn't. They don't look like they're going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I mean, do you think it's too early to tell, or do you think it's going that direction?
I think you got some valid points there. I think there's some things that we need to take away. Obviously, we overreact during the regular season, and maybe Andy Reid has something up his sleeve, like so he was mentioning it. But I think where there's smoke, there's fire. We have way too much smoke in that wide receiver department right now, and I think it's gonna rear its ugly head in the playoffs against a good defensive team.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be tough, especially if they have to go on the road. We haven't seen that version of the Chiefs in the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes, so we'll have to see what it goes,
They're
how it
falling.
goes.
They're Denver's one game behind them.
Yep, yeah, it's close, and they split the series, so I think it would go
Mhm.
after that to division record, and I don't know who has what there, but we'll have to see how that ends.
Right.
But